What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and this is the Stair and Railing in Revit course. Now, in this first chapter, we're going to be covering pretty much everything that there is to know about stairs in Revit. We're going to be covering all of the simple way to create stairs, all of the advanced ways to create stairs, and of course, all of the stair types, the types of runs and stairs, the multi-story stair options, of course, how to set up the landings, stairs with double runs, and then finally everything that there is to know about graphics in stairs. Now that's what this chapter is going to be all about. That's what the first hour is all about. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. We're going to get started by exploring the stair tool and just exploring the most basic approach when it comes to placing a stair in Revit. Now, the first thing that you need to consider when it comes to placing stairs in Revit are going to be your levels. So here, if I navigate to the project browser, you're going to notice that within floor plans, we have a level 1 and then also level 2. Now, we can view this if we go to one of the elevations, for example, the south elevation. I'm just going to double click. And as you can see, we have a level 1 that's set at 0 and then a level 2 that's set at 300 centimeters. Now, if we decide to place our stair, usually we're going to be associating our stair with levels. Just as in real life, stairs are going from one level up to the other level. Now, for placing a staircase, it's a bit of a controversial topic when it comes to Revit, just because usually when it comes to placing stairs, you would view them from level 2 down to level 1. So for example, if we have a stair that goes from level 1 up to level 2, in order to view that stair in its entirety, you would have to look at it from level 2 down to level 1 in order to see all of the steps. If we were to create just a simple stair that appears here on level 1, usually it would get cut off at around 1.2 meters in Revit, just because that's usually where your cut plane is cutting your floor plan. Now, when it comes to creating stairs in Revit, it doesn't really matter at which level you're on, just because while you're in the edit mode or sketch mode for your stairs, you are going to be able to see it no matter in which level you're located. So if I just go here into level 1, and then if I go here to circulation, that's where our stair button is located, and if I just open that up, you're going to notice that just by default, it's going to set the constraints here in the properties panel for our stair to go from the base level, which is set to level 1, up to top level, which is set to level 2. Now, if I were on level 2 at the point where I hit the stair button, it would start our stair from level 2. So if I just escape out of this for a moment, go up to level 2, go to stair, and now, as you can see, the base level is set at level 2, and then the top level is set to, well, none, just because we don't really have any levels above, but it is going to give us sort of a default stair height set at 304.8 centimeters. So just keep that in mind. By default, Revit is going to set your base level at level on which you're at. So I'm just going to cancel this, go back into level 1, go to stair, and then here it's back from level 1 to level 2. Now, of course, at any point you can change any of these. Now, currently we only have level 1 and level 2, and we can also set it to none if we want, and then also we can give an offset. So you can give it a base offset, also a top offset. Now, keep in mind that for offset, you can both give it a positive or a negative offset. So if you type in minus 30 centimeters, the stair is going to stop shy 30 centimeters from the level to which it's going, in this case, level 2. Also, once you go into the stair tool, you're going to notice that here below we have a desired number of risers, and currently it says 16. Now, this is calculated by default just because currently we have the assembled stair type selected over here. Now, if I open up this drop menu, you're going to notice that we have multiple options. So, for example, if I switch this to private, this number may change. In this case, it's set to 14. If I set it to precast stair, now it's set to 17. The reason for this, why this number changes, is because all of these different stair types have different calculation rules when it comes to how large each step is, or each riser and each step depth. So just keep that in mind. We're going to be going over these calculation rules and how to change them if you might maybe want to change them. Usually this is going to depend on code in your country and all of the regulations when it comes to placing stairs inside of your buildings. But for now, I just wanted to illustrate the difference between all of these types. Now we can go back to this original one that gives us 16 risers, and keep in mind that at any point you can change this number. You can't really change the actual riser height that's being calculated, but you can change the desired number of risers. You can also change the actual tread depth. Now it's set to 25 centimeters, just because here the type is called 250 millimeter going, so that's why this is 25 centimeters. But of course, you can change that if you want. Some of the other settings that we have over here is the location line, so that's similar to how it works with walls. Do you want to, the line that you're going to be drawing over here, do you want it to go through the center of the stair, or to the left of the run, right of the run, or to the maybe right exterior support or left exterior support? So you do have that option. Currently I'm just going to change it to center, but for example here, as you can see, when I'm drawing the stair, it's kind of drawing it from the center. But if I just hit the escape key once, and if I change this to maybe left, when I start drawing, as you can see, it goes from the left support, and then the stair appears on the right. And of course you can change that to right, and now it looks like this. So this is usually going to depend if you're maybe trying to place a stair next to a wall or something like that. But for now, again, I'm just going to hit the escape key and change this back to center. Also, you have the option to add an offset that works as usual with all of the other tools. And also here we have the run width. Currently it's set to 100 centimeters, so the width is 100. But if I were to change this to maybe 300, oops, there we go. Now, as you can see, we have a lot wider staircase. Now I'm just going to change this back to 100. Maybe 120 would be a bit more appropriate to rules and regulations in my country. Also here we have the automatic landing. This is basically telling Revit that you want to have Revit place the landing between your runs automatically, and if you uncheck this, you would have to do it manually later on. Now, something that you will notice when you start the stair tool is the rest of the model goes into this grayscale or halftone appearance, and the reason for that is because we are now in sketch mode. So sketch mode works a bit different when it comes to stairs. Usually when it comes to floors or roofs, here you would have different draw tools. Here we have components. So we can draw either a straight or a full step spiral or a center end spiral, and so on and so forth. And also we have the create sketch option. Now all of these we're going to be talking about a bit later on. For now, let's just stick to the regular straight run. So to place the stair, you just click once at the point where you want your stair to start, and then you can extend it, as you can see, at whichever side you want. Now you will notice that as you extend the line, you are going to be adding risers or steps, and then also you're going to notice that here below it says 9 risers created, 7 remaining. So you can just keep going, adding risers, and once you're finished, as you can see, it's not going to add any more risers. So now if I just click over here, it's going to create that stair. And as you can see, it doesn't matter if we're in level 1 or level 2 or even the site plan, the stair, while you're in the sketch mode, is going to appear the same in each of these. Now, once I just hit finish to complete the staircase, now you're going to notice that here we have this cut line that's basically representing that this is where our stair is being cut off by the level, and here we have these dashed overhead lines just representing where the stair ends. Now if we switch to level 2, as you can see here, we can see the full stair because it's all in view. And also we get this little down arrow indicating that this is the way down, and here back in level 1 we get this up arrow indicating that this is heading up. And also, if I were just to switch to the south elevation, you will notice that our stair goes from here, from the bottom, from level 1 all the way up to level 2. Now, something that you will notice when it comes to stairs is you can see here the final step on top doesn't really exist, and the reason for that is because Revit usually uses the floor on top as that final top step. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to create here an additional step. You're usually just going to attach this to a floor, and then your stair would be completed. So if I just go here into level 2 and then just go to a simple floor, and let's create a simple rectangle. So if I just create something that looks like this, hit finish, go back to south elevation, you will notice that this is now used as the top of our staircase. In the previous video, we have explored how to create just a basic straight run for our stair in Revit. Now in this video, we're going to be expanding that and exploring all of the other tools and options for creating a stair in Revit. So what I'm going to do now is just navigate here to the circulation tab and then click on the stair button. Now for our type of stair, I'm just going to keep it at assembled stair, 190mm max riser with the 250mm going. Our stair is going to go from level 1 up to level 2, and that is going to give us the desired number of risers set at 16. And of course, the tread depth is going to be set at 25 centimeters. Now, for our run width, I'm just going to leave it at 100, and here for the location line, let's leave it at center, of course, with no offset. Now, previously we have explored this straight run tool, but we also have a few more options, so let's take a look at those. The first one is the full step spiral, so let's take a look at how this works. So you click here, and then you're going to notice that first we need to enter the run center. So if I just click here, you're going to notice that this gives us the center, and then as I expand or as I move out and increase the radius, it's going to give us this whole run. So as you can see, if I come in close, the run is almost going to be like a full circle, and as we kind of continue going outside and expanding the radius, it's going to go to half circle and then even less. So it's just going to be a segment of a circle. So you can just click once, and that's how you basically place this stair. Now, as you can see here, we can kind of try to extend it a little bit by adding steps. But here, as you can see, if I extend it by using this little dot over here, it's going to give us here 16 plus 3. Or if I just drop it down, here it says 16. So what does this mean? So if I go here to the south elevation, you're going to notice that here, this spiral staircase goes from level 1 up to level 2. But if I continue using this button to add steps, it's just going to continue going upward. So here we have added multiple steps. So if I just go back into level 1, you're going to see that we have added 5 more steps. So be careful with this tool. Usually I just keep it at 16. Also, we have this option with a drag arrow, but you're going to notice that this basically rotates our stair around. You can do the same thing on the bottom. You can rotate it around using this button. Oops, let's cancel out of that. Or you can use this here drag point to add segments. Now, if I go to the other side, it's going to give us basically an error message, but if I go here towards the inside, it's basically going to take away steps. So if I go to south elevation again, now as you can see, it's starting from a higher point, so we can basically take away steps from the bottom. So those are some of the options when it comes to creating a stair like this. Now if I extend it, as you can see, now this is at step 3, step 2, step 1, and now we're down to our regular bottom. Also, you're going to notice that here we can increase the radius, so we can add a dimension here, so maybe type in 150, and as you can see, it expands. Also, you can increase the width by using these drag points here. So as you can see, now it's no longer 1 meter, now it's 109, now it's 137, so you can play around with that, or you can just type in a number here like 100, and now it's set at 100, and here we can drop this down to 140. There we go. So it is going to require some back and forth if you decide to change these numbers. Let's cancel out of that. But that's basically how you create this type of a stair. Now, in order to test out the rest of these, we have to hit finish to complete this stair. There we go. And now we can go back to our stair tool to try out some of the other ones. So if I go with the second one, which is the center and spiral, so if I just click there, again, we have to specify the run center, and then again, we create this, we decide what the radius is going to be, and that's what gives us the shape of the stair. But then we get the option to add individual steps. So you can maybe add in a few steps and then decide to add a few steps more over here, for example. So if I go like this, and then I can add a few more steps, so we get this weird staircase with this landing in the middle. So the point of this stair is that you can kind of move it around and play around with the shape in order to set it up to exactly what you want to have. So you can basically get a spiral staircase with a landing in the middle. Now, of course, this does require a little bit of work in order to set it up exactly how you want it to be set up, but once you figure out how it works, it can actually give you a really nice staircase. So if we maybe set it up to this, it might look really good. So if I just go here to the default 3D view, you're going to notice that it gives us something that looks like this. So we get a spiral staircase, then we get the landing in the middle, and then we get a spiral staircase. So this is basically if you have a full spiral, and this is if you have a spiral with a landing in the middle. Now, of course, this might work a lot better if you have maybe a bigger height. So here it's only 300 centimeters, so it's usually not going to look that good when you add a landing in a spiral staircase such as this one. And again, you get all of those same options. If I go back into level 1 to expand the width, you can do the same thing here for the landing. You can expand the width, and then the same thing goes here for this bottom run or bottom spiral run. I'm just going to hit finish to escape out of that stair. Now let's take a look at the next option. So I'm going to go here to stair, and then the next option is the L-shaped winder. So this basically gives us a winding staircase, but it basically keeps the rectangular shape. So if I just select that, as you can see here, you can place it. You can use the space key to rotate it around, and then as soon as you click, it's there. Now again, when you select it, you do have the option to expand the run, again using these grip points here, 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 and here. Also, you have the option to expand it. So if you want to have a fewer steps here on the bottom, you can drag this out a little bit up to a certain point. When you go past that point, it's going to give you this error message. So let's go back. Here you can do the same thing on the other side. So you can play around with the shape like that. Also, you get these grip points in the middle, which basically do the same thing, but they just allow you to grab it here in the middle of the stair. So you do have those options to set up this L-shaped winder. I'm just going to hit finish to exit out of that. There we go. Let's go to stair again, and let's find out about the U-shaped winder. So for the U-shaped winder, you can basically place it again. It's just basically a stair component, but then again you can expand it here. Now in this case it doesn't work that well. You can expand it just a little bit, but again, because it's a short height, it's only 300 centimeters between level 1 and level 2, it doesn't give us too many options when it comes to playing around with this. And again, you have the same options here. You can expand the stair a little bit here, but again, we get error message as soon as we go past a certain point where Revit doesn't allow us to change this. Also, you get the option to add steps along the way here if you use these drag points. Now, as you can see, it's 16 plus 3, so you can add additional steps, but again, as I said previously, try to keep it at the original setting, so it goes up to 16, and we don't really get any plus here, because that would basically mean that we have extra steps that we don't really require for this staircase here. Now, one thing that I would also like to mention at this point is if you want to create a stair that has the L-shaped or a U-shape, but you want to have a landing in the middle over here, or in the middle over here. You can do that by going here to stair and just using the regular straight tool. What you would do is basically start off here, create a few steps, click, then go to this side, click again, and then create the rest of the steps. And then here we have the L-shaped stair with this landing here in the middle. Now, of course, you can select the bottom run and then just use the arrow keys to move it up a little bit so we get rid of that, the shape of that landing in the middle. There we go. I'm just going to hit finish to complete this stair. And then to create the U-shaped stair with the landing in the middle, you would go again to stair. Now, in this case, what I like to do is to make sure that here that the desired number of risers is set to an even number, so either 16 or 14 or 18 or something like that. And then I would click, go up until it says 8 created, 8 remaining. So go up until you have the same number of risers created and the same number of risers remaining. And at this point, you would just click, go to the other side, make sure that you get this little dashed line that indicates basically that it's going to snap to the same position where this run ended. That's going to be the beginning of the other run. Click again and then move all the way up and just click. And there we go. We have a U-shaped stair with the landing in the middle. If I just hit finish and then go into 3D, here you can see we have both of those options. Maybe if I just move these out of the way a little bit, there we go. So as you can see, this is that winder L shape and the U-shaped winder where the steps kind of wind around. And when you have a landing, it looks kind of like this, just basically with the landing in the middle for both L shape and U-shaped stairs. Now, just one more thing that I would like to mention is that at any point, if you decide that the direction of the stair is, well, going in the wrong direction, you can actually flip that. So if I just select this stair and then go into Edit Stairs, at any point you can go here to Tools and we have the option to flip. And if I just flip it, hit Finish, as you can see, the flip will occur and the stair will go in the opposite direction. Now here we might have an error due to baluster placement, but that's okay. It doesn't seem to look wrong here in this model, and there we go. That's how you can flip the direction of the stair. In the previous video, I have shown you how to create stairs using the Run tool and then all of the types of component stairs that you can place, but sometimes that's not going to be enough for creating the exact shape of staircase that you want to have. Now, in cases like this, we do have the option to create a stair by sketching it out. Now, the upside of this is, of course, the vast versatility of this tool, and you can pretty much create any type of stair or any look of stair that you want to achieve. But the downside is it is a bit difficult to work with, and if you don't set everything up extremely precise, you are going to have a problem where Revit is going to give you a bunch of error messages and it's not going to allow you to complete the stair. So I'm going to be showing you how to complete this in the easiest possible way to get the exact shape that you want. So to start off the stair tool, I'm just going to go here to Circulation panel and then just click on the stair button. Now, in order to place a stair by drawing it, you have this option to create sketch. Now, before we go to this, the first thing that I like to set up is the stair type and all of the properties, because once you go here, you're going to notice that you don't really have the option to change the properties. The only possible time to change the properties is before you go here. So I cancel out of this edit mode, and now I can change the properties. Now, in most cases, when sketching out the stair, I like to use the monolithic stair or the precast stair. In this case, let's go with the monolithic one. And then here, just make sure that it goes from base level up to top level. And one really important thing that you should memorize is this number here, so the desired number of risers. Now, the reason for this is because you have to match the number of risers in your sketch. If you don't match that, Revit is not going to allow you to complete your stair. Okay, so once we have memorized the number 17 and we have set this up to the monolithic stair, I can go here to create sketch. Now, you're going to notice that here we have few options. So the first one is the boundary. So that's basically the boundary of your stair. The second one is the risers, And finally, we have the stair path. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just go here to boundary, and let's create a boundary. So I'm just going to go with maybe a line, create one line that goes perhaps like this, and then maybe like that. There we go. Hit the escape key once, and then I'm going to use the fillet arc tool in order to create a small fillet over here. There we go. And then on the other side, I'm going to do something similar, or actually, let's just create a mirror. So I'm going to select this, go with the mirror option using the draw axis function, and then I'm just going to create a vertical line, click once again, and there we go. So this is the boundary. This is the outside of our stair. Next, we have to move to risers. So these are the risers. So once I click here on risers, again, as you can see, we have the same sketch tools, but now if I create a line, you're going to notice that this line is black. And here below, you're going to notice that it says 1 riser created, 16 remaining. So now you can basically continue adding risers, and now it's going to say 2 risers created, 15 remaining, and then you can just continue adding those. Now, I suggest you make sure that this always snaps to that exact point that you want to have. So we can go like this, and we can just continue adding risers. As you can see, it's going to go like this, and here, as you can see, I've made a mistake. So once you hit the escape key, it's by default going to go to boundary. So I'm just going to delete this boundary. I don't want that. I want a riser, and then let's go back to the line, create another riser. So this is 4, 5, and then so on and so forth until you finish the whole stair. Now, as you can see, we have something that looks like this, but this is a bit problematic. The thing is, none of these steps are equal length. So what I like to do in these cases when sketching out a stair is to go here and go to the measure panel and then find the aligned dimension. And then you can also find the same tool up here on the quick access toolbar. So once I click here, I'm going to select first the bottom line, so the first riser. I'm going to select that one, and then just keep selecting each riser and adding those to dimensions. So I'm just going to go like this, add all of these risers, finish one with this one, and then just extend that dimension line a bit off to the side. Click once to kind of place it, and then here we have this EQ option. So this allows us to equalize all of these distances. So it's basically going to calculate the average distance or the middle distance for all of these. And once I click that, as you can see, it equalizes all of the distances, and now we have a proper arrangement of steps. Now I'm just going to hit the escape key a couple of times, select this, hit delete, there we go. Okay, and finally we just need one more thing, and that's the stair path. So I'm just going to select here the stair path and just place a simple line going from the bottom step all the way to the top step, and just hit finish. And there we go. We have our elaborately shaped staircase. Now, if I just go here into the default 3D view, we can see what that looks like, and as you can see, it looks pretty good. So there we go. That's how can we create a stair of pretty much any shape. Now, in some cases, you're not going to have such a complex shape like this one here. You might have just a simple shape, and then you might want to just add a little bit to that shape. So let's see what to do in those cases. I'm just going to finish this edit mode to complete the stair, and there we go. As you can see, Revit will apply even railing on top of this, and there we go. Now I'm going to go back into level 1, and here what I'm going to do is just go back to the architecture tab, go to the stair button, and then I'm going to place a simple run. So I'm just going to click here once, go all the way to the top, click once again, and there we go. Now I'm just going to hit finish, and there we go. We have a finished stair. Now once you select that stair, you can go here into edit stairs, you can select it, and now we can edit it. Now this is really cool. We already have a stair that we like. Maybe we want to make it a bit larger. Let's go with 160. And then let's say we want to maybe manipulate a few of the steps here on the bottom. What we can do in that case, instead of basically sketching it out from scratch, we can start off from this stair. So I'm just going to select it, go here to convert, and this will convert it to a sketch-based stair. So once I click this, let's see, let's exit out of that. Select it, and now as you can see, it's converted, and now we have this edit sketch option, and if I just click there, as you can see, it has fully converted this stair into a sketch. Now we can start making some changes to it. So for example, let's say I want to add maybe an arc here at the bottom, so I can go maybe here to the 4th step, go like this to the bottom, maybe like that, and then let's create something that looks like this on one side, and then let's say I want to do the same thing here and mirror it on the top. So there we go, hit the escape key a couple of times. Now what I'm going to do is just use the trim and extend tool. You can use the TR shortcut and just select this green line here and then this green line over here on top to change the boundary. Same thing here, select the arc and then select the boundary on the outside. There we go. Hit the escape key a couple of times again, and then I'm just going to extend these just like that. Make sure to snap to point. Same thing here. So just extend these, and again, just make sure that they snap, that the arc highlights, because for example, if I just leave this out with a small gap, and if I try to finish this, it's sometimes going to be able to fix it like it did here, but sometimes you're going to get an error message, so just be careful about that. Now if we just hit finish, there we go, and if I just go here into the 3D view, as you can see, we have this elegant staircase that goes like this. It has a bit of a fillet here, or a flare on the bottom, and a flare up here on top, and it looks really nice. But we did save a lot of time just by starting off with a simple run and then just making minor modifications to it instead of going like this and sketching it out from the beginning all by ourselves. So depending on what you're trying to create, you can choose either to start from scratch or to start from an existing stair, convert it into sketch, and then finish it off. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at stair landings. So those are those segments that connect two pieces of stairs or two runs. So if I just go here to the circulation panel on the architecture tab and just click on the stair button and open that up, and here in the properties panel, I'm just going to change this type to perhaps let's go with the monolithic stair for this demonstration. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is here on this little bar, the modify bar, we have the option for an automatic landing, and you can either check it on or off. So if I just check this off, and if I start creating a stair, let's say we create a few steps, then the stair should be an L-shaped stair, and the second segment should be over here, and let's create that segment, and then let's hit finish. As you can see now, these two parts are not continuously connected, so we see that even in this warning, and that's why the whole thing lights up either in red or orange or something like that. Now I'm just going to get rid of this warning, and perhaps let's go here to the quick access toolbar and let's just click on the default 3D view just to take a look at what this thing looks like. So as you can see, we have two stair segments which are not connected. Now naturally you would like to connect these, and for that we need a landing between these two. Now to create a landing, what you can do is just go here to stair, start the command again, and then here we have landings. Now if we just select landings, we have two ways of approaching this. So we can automatically create our landing, or we can sketch it out. Now sketching it out is basically creating a boundary, like if you were creating a floor or something like that. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is first show you this automatic option with picking two runs, and then I'm going to be showing you how to edit it by sketch. So I'm just going to go with the pick runs. I'm going to pick this run and then this one, and as you can see, Revit will automatically connect it with a landing. So once we have that landing in place, let's just hit finish. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we have our stair. Now let's say that we're not really happy with the shape of this landing. We don't like the fact that it's completely rectangular, and we want to add just a little bit more to it. So what I'm going to do in that case is go here into either level 1 or level 2. Let's just go to level 1, and then in order to edit the stair, we have to select it again, go into edit stairs, and now here, as you can see, we can select the landing itself. Now, once this is selected, we can't really make changes to it except for changes like this. We can just kind of orthogonally move these bits around just a little bit using these drag points, but that's pretty much it when it comes to changing this. Now, let's say I want to have a filleted edge or something like that, or maybe I want to have let's call it a balcony or something like that here, or any type of a change that you would like to make that isn't really within these rigid constraints. For anything like that, we have to convert this into sketch geometry. Now, as we did previously when we were talking about creating stairs by sketch and starting off from an existing stair and then modifying it and adding sketched elements, we can do the same thing with landings just themselves alone. So if I just select the landing and go here to the tools here on the modify panel and click on convert, we're going to get this message that basically says that we're going to turn this into a sketch-based component, and this action is irreversible, so just keep that in mind. I'm just going to close that off, and there we go. Now, nothing has changed, of course, but if I select this landing, now here on the tools, I have the option to edit sketch. Now, if I just select that, here, as you can see, we have sketched lines. We also have this stair path. Now, usually, I'm going to leave the stair path alone and not play around with it, but with the boundary, the outline, we can make some changes. So, for example, I can create a circle over here, just like that. Next, let's go to the split element tool. SL is the shortcut. There we go. We can split it like this. And then I can use trim and extend here, just like that. Let's unjoin elements. And then here, let's go like this. Hit the escape key a couple of times, and we just need to get rid of this small arc segment. And for this, I'm just going to connect it back like that. And let's say we're happy with this shape. If I hit finish and then finish again, as you can see, we're going to get a railing here. And if I go here to the 3D view, you're going to get something that looks like this. So we have a landing that has this little balcony area or viewing area where you can just kind of stand and take a view, perhaps if this is an outdoor stair or something like that. So you can make some changes to the landings of staircases, and then you can you can make pretty impressive changes if you decide to switch that landing to a sketched based landing. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at stairs when it comes to buildings that have more levels. So in this case, as you can see, I've already created this stair, but if I switch here to the 3D view, you're going to notice that we have a multi-story building. So we have multiple floors here, and the stair is only connecting level 1 to level 2, and we don't really have the connection all the way up to level 5. So what do you do in this case? So an option that you can do is just select that stair, go here, and you have the option to select levels. So when you select the stair on the modify panel, you have the multi-story tab, and here we have the select levels option. So once you click that, you basically add levels to selection, and it's going to connect the stair so it goes up to that level. So here, as you can see, levels 1 and 2 are grayed out just because it's already going up to a level 2, but we have the option to add level 3, 4, and 5. Now here, if the option to connect levels is checked on, you will be able to add levels, basically, so you can add all of them just by selecting like this. And also you have the option to disconnect levels. So if you're not happy with a certain level, you can disconnect that. Now, because I just want to connect all of these, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to hit finish, and there you go. Now the stair is going all the way up to level 5. Now, something else that you will notice is now if I hover here close to the stair, it kind of gives us this blue box around the whole stair. Now, when you select it, now it says a multi-story stair. So it's no longer just a simple stair going from one level to the other. Now it's considered a multi-level stair. Now, at any point, you can add or remove levels from selection, so keep that in mind. And also, if you want to edit a certain stair inside, what you would have to do is basically come in here, use the tab key a few times, and then you can select an individual stair. Now, something else that you will notice is the fact that now we have these pins here. So once you turn a regular stair into a multi-level stair, it's going to group it in sort of a way. So if you want to make edits to just one of these, so for example, let's say we want to change the landing or something like that, you would have to unpin it, and now it's disconnected from this multi-story stair in a way, so it might not follow the changes that you make to the rest of these. But anyways, now you can go here into edit, and you can edit this. So maybe I can select this landing here, go into edit sketch. There is the sketch on the bottom. Maybe this would be a bit easier to do in level 1. And now here for the sketch, we can maybe get rid of this arc and then just connect it with a simple straight line, maybe extend it a little bit. There we go. Hit finish, go back into 3D. There we go. Hit finish again. And now we have a more traditional landing here for this top stair. Now, one more thing that I would like to mention is the fact that you don't have to create the stair first and then make this change into a multi-level stair. You can actually do it while you're creating the initial stair. So if I go back here into level 1, maybe move a little bit away from this, let's go to stair. Now here in the properties, I'm just going to set it to a monolithic stair. If I scroll down, you're going to notice that the desired number of risers that Revit offers us is 17. Now that gives us an actual riser height of 17.65. Now in this case, I would like to have an even number of steps on each run, so I would have to change this to either 16 or 18. And usually I change it to a larger number just because then it's going to give us a smaller riser height and it's going to make the stair a bit more comfortable. So if there is enough space for a larger stair, I always recommend doing that. So I'm just going to go to a larger number, hit apply. Now, as you can see, the actual riser height has dropped down to 16.67. That's okay. So now let's create that stair. So what I'm just going to do is click here once, start creating the stair, and just start making steps until it says 9 risers created, 9 remaining. Click once, move off here to the side, click once again, and then just finish this off. Now at this point, you have the option to connect levels. So here we can go either to one of the elevations or to the 3D view. Let's go in this case to the elevation. There we go. And now we can perhaps select these levels, hit finish. There we go. And now our stair goes all the way from the bottom to the top. And if we go into 3D, this is what we have created. So you can do everything while you're creating the initial stair, and you would save a bit of time as well. Now, one more thing that I would like to show you is how to model stairs that have a Y shape. So let me show you how that works. What I'm going to do is just go here to the stair button, and then here for the stair type, let's choose something like the monolithic stair. Now it's just going to go from level 1 up to level 2, and immediately we can start modeling it. So I'm just going to click here, create a few risers. So let's go with something like 8, and then I'm just going to click here and add just the rest of them. Now once we have this, what we can do is just select the second run, so that's the top one, and then when it's selected, we can go here to the modify panel and then just use the pick axis option for the mirror tool, and then just mirror it around the center, and this is what we get. Now we can of course just alter the landing in the middle, so just select it, go to convert, and then it will just convert it in a sketch-based element, and then we can just edit the sketch to include this part. So what I like to do is just select these parts and then just mirror those. So just mirror them around to this side, and then we can just use trim and extend, just to trim and extend it like that. And then also we can extend this line or path like that. Now we just hit finish, and we can go into 3D, and this is what we get. So we get a stair that starts off with just one run, and then it basically continues and finishes with a couple of runs. In this video, we're going to be talking about the graphics and appearance of stairs in Revit. So here we have one stair, and if I just select it, you're going to notice that here in the properties, it says industrial and assembly. So this is that type of a stair, and I chose this one for this demonstration just because it has these supports on each side. Now, you will notice that the stair goes from level 1 up to level 2. Now, in architecture presentation and in architecture floor plans, whenever you have elements like stairs that go from level 1 up to level 2, they're usually going to get cut off at a certain point. Now, in most cases, this is around 1 meter or 1.2 meters or 3 or 4 feet, something like that. And now for this, or for Revit stairs, or the way that Revit represents stairs, you're going to notice that if we switch here to the floor plan, either by clicking here or by going to the project browser and selecting level 1, you are going to get that cut-off point represented by this zigzag cut point line, but then you're going to see the rest of the stair, and it's going to be represented by this dashed line. So even though this stair shouldn't be visible, it is visible, and it shouldn't be visible past this point, but it still is going to be visible, but Revit is going to give us these dashed lines in order to represent it. Now, in some cases, this is going to work just fine, but in my experience, in most countries, in most regulations, usually you wouldn't represent stairs like this. This is way too elements and way too many lines for a stair representation. So what I'm going to do is move this off to the side a little bit, maybe like that, and then let me start the visibility graphics overrides. So that's this menu over here. So when nothing is selected in the view, on the properties panel you get view properties, and here we have the visibility graphics overrides, and I'm just going to click edit, and that's going to open up this menu. You can also use the VG or VV shortcut for this. Now, when it comes to stair representation, here you can alter the way that Revit represents stairs, floor plan by floor plan or view by view. And here I'm just going to scroll down, and as you can see here for visibility, we have all of the categories, and now we're searching for the stair category. So if I scroll down here, you will notice that we have stairs, and here this node basically indicates that if I hit the plus sign, it will expand. So for stairs, we have multiple subcategories. So some of these subcategories, and let me expand this menu a little bit, have this above before the name. So we have above cut marks, above nosing lines, above outlines, above rising lines, and then above supports. So all of these lines are basically outlining all of these dashed lines that we're going to have over here. So for example, you don't really need to have riser lines here. You do need to have riser lines below, but these dashed lines, I don't think they're necessary for representing this stair. So if we just go here and find the riser lines and then hit apply, they have disappeared, but you will notice that here they haven't disappeared. So why is that? Well, that's because in this particular stair, the riser lines and nosing lines are overlapping. So if we uncheck both of them and then hit apply, now you will notice that we no longer have any more lines. But we do still have a lot of these outlines, or we do have one outline, and that's the main outline, so that's this one over here, but we also have these supports. So supports are basically these elements over here on the side. So the stair is held in place by two stringers or two supports on the side, and we're going to be talking a lot more about this in the next chapter. But so far, let's just make these supports disappear because they're a bit too much. So if I uncheck that, hit apply, the supports have disappeared, but we still have the rest of the stair visible, or the rest of these dashed lines visible. So what are these? Well, these are actually not stairs, these are railings. So if I move this off to the side a little bit, this over here, these two lines, this is indicating the railing. So we have to find railing over here. So scroll down a bit further or a bit upward. Yes, here we have railings, and if we open that up, here we have all of the railings. So what they tend to do is just uncheck all of the above categories for railings, hit apply, And now we have just the stair outline. Now, of course, it is still going to depend in your country's regulation. Do you have the outline, or maybe you don't have the outline? I prefer to keep the outline. I think it's a good representation of where the stair is. Perhaps if you want to place some furniture below, you want to know that that furniture is going to be below the stairs. So I tend to leave the outline here. Now I'm just going to click OK. Next, for the stairs, we also do have these up and down symbols. So for each of these stairs, you have those up and down symbols. Now you have to select the symbol, and then you're going to get this stair path category. And then for that, what you can do is you can check it, show up text, show down text, and then here you can edit the text. So here you can call this up arrow. And if you hit apply, it's going to say up arrow. So this is basically where you input the text. And then here also you can input the text for when the stair is going down. Now, what I tend to do is I like to uncheck the down text, because in most cases or in most regulations you don't really represent down text. And also for this up text, I tend to get rid of the text. So I just like to have the arrow here. And then you have the orientation, which can be horizontal or vertical. Because we don't really have any text anymore, it's not necessary. Also, one more thing when it comes to stair annotation, and that's located here on the Annotate tab, is we do have the option to number the treads. So here we have the tread number. You can select that, and then you can select the stairs. So you can basically click where you want to add those, and Revit will add those in just like this. Now, once you select it, as you can see, you can select it like this. You can play around with the positioning. So here we have the number size, for example. So if this is a bit too much, we can maybe make it just 1 millimeter. Hit apply. There you go. It's a bit smaller. Then we can play around with the tag type. Is it the riser or is it the tread? Also, we have the option to display rule all, or odd, or even, or start and end. So you don't really have to have all numbers, maybe start and end. So you have the first one and the final one, or I'm just going to keep all in this case. Then we have the reference. So is it in the right corner, or is it in the center or left? And you can just play around with this positioning. Here it's kind of overlapping with the railing and the support, so I tend to keep it in the right corner or the left corner. Next, we have the offset from reference, so you can play around with this. So if I input 1 millimeter, as you can see, it kind of brings it down. So you can kind of fine-tune the position and place it exactly where you want to keep it. Also, we have the justification. Is it at the back, at the center, or at the front of each riser? And also we have the option to give it an offset. So what I tend to do is keep it on center, so that's going to center it like this, and then I tend to give it a small offset, like 1 millimeter, okay, maybe even smaller, so 0.8. There we go. So it's kind of here in a corner of each step. And then we can also play around with the orientation. Do we want horizontal or vertical? I tend to keep it horizontal. And there you go. So that's how you can number all of these steps. Now, in this case, the problem is because here the stair isn't really visible, so this can look a bit silly, but yeah, that's just how Revit represents this. And also you have the option to start to change the start number, so you start from 1 or from some other number. Also, one more thing when it comes to representing stairs in Revit is this zigzag line. So this is the cut line, so where your floor plan cuts off at the height of 1.2 meters in Revit in most cases. And this cut line, it doesn't really look nice. I don't like the zigzag line, and actually under regulation in my country, we don't have the zigzag line. We have 2 straight lines next to each other. So how can we change this? So if I just select the stair and then go and let's move it off to the side, and let's go into edit type. Here in the edit type menu, if I scroll down, for each stair, doesn't matter which type you select, you are going to have this graphics option, or the graphics set of parameters, and we just have one parameter, which is the cut mark type. And here it's set to the single zigzag line. Now, I like to select this and then change it. Now, we only have the single and the double zigzag line, so what I'm going to do is start off with the double one. And if I were just to click OK and apply, as you can see now we have two of those. But what I tend to do is just go back here into Edit, duplicate this, and I just call it double line. Hit enter. So here for the graphics, I tend to keep it at double line. For the cut line distance, I like to drop this down to 1.0 millimeters. And then here the cut angle, I'm happy with the 25% or 25 degrees. And then here we also have the cut line extension, so you can extend it a little bit. So sometimes I like to add just a millimeter or something like that. I think it looks a bit nicer. And then also here we have the cut mark symbol. This is the most important part. And instead of a zigzag or a curve, which looks even worse in my opinion, I just keep it at none. Now if I just click OK and apply, it looks like this. And I think this looks way more elegant. So here we have just a straight line and then this dashed line, and that's it. So this is how I like to set up the graphics for my stairs in Revit. And also one quick tip, I like to select this, right click, and then we have the option to override graphics in view by element. And then here I just turn on halftone and then hit apply and OK, and I think it looks a lot better when the numbers are kind of gray and halftone. Okay, so we're going to be finishing up this chapter here, and then in the next chapter we're going to be playing around and researching all of the parameters and settings for each stair type in Revit, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.